Well, welcome. This is Hello Chaos, a podcast for founders really in the thick of it. The messy middle is what we like to call it. The questions, the pressure, the chaos. No one really puts on LinkedIn. There are no fairy tales here. It's just the real work of what it takes to build and scale a business and also build and scale yourself. My favorite quote is, your capacity for growth is relative to how deep you look into the mirror. So I am excited to have on our show today. We have Dr. Maria Nemeth. She is the founder and director of the Academy for Coaching Excellence. She has trained thousands of people worldwide in the nonprofit, for-profit, and government sectors. Dr. Maria also has a popular TEDx talk. She was a guest on The Oprah Show, and she has a successful podcast herself called The Energy of Money, which is the same title of her book. So we're going to get into all of that. And she's calling from the opposite coast of Sacramento, California. So welcome, Dr. Maria. I appreciate you being on the show.
Listen, I am thrilled, Jennifer. Thank you for having me here.
No. So I know you've been doing this for a long time, 40 years. You've been, coaching. You've got, you were a clinical psychologist before you got into coaching. But what started out, what was the inspiration of, I'm going to go out and hang my own shingle and I'm going to go do this on my own?
I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad had his own business. He was a genius and he worked on inventing a lot of things that actually got used. And my mom, she was an entrepreneur as well. She had a chain of bakeries in Los Angeles called Poopy's Pastries, P-U-P-I. I know, it sounds funny, but Poopy is actually short for Pupchen. My dad was born in Vienna.
Okay.
And he'd call her Poopy. And so when she opened up the bakery, it was a gourmet bakery and popular back in the day. She had a chain of bakeries. So I had that sense of I wanted to, be on my own. I wanted to do my own work. I was an associate clinical professor in a California state university, but it just didn't speak to me the way having my own business would.
Having the freedom, right?
That freedom, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Energy of Money is the book that kind of, electrified. But how did that start? Like the connection of money and the power of that. What led to kind of that topic?
Well, it's embarrassing and it's not always pretty the way we start off.
Yeah.
But it was at least 40 years ago, I loaned someone $35,000 on an unsecured promissory note. Now, $35,000 doesn't seem like a lot today, but 40 or 45, it was a lot of money. Not only that, I only knew the guy for about 3 months. And not only that, but my friends and my colleagues and my relatives said, Maria, do not send him any money. Don't do it. But I was eager.
Right.
And so I remember, really, I remember this even as I'm talking to you. Here I am sitting at a lunch with this man, and I'm writing this check out for 35 and 00 over 100 with a little line. So he couldn't cash it for more. And because I was not a fool, right? And just before I signed my name, this little voice said to me, Maria, don't do it. Don't do it. Did I listen? No. I signed the check.
Sometimes we have to learn those, I should have listened to that voice.
My gosh. And so I signed the check. I gave it to him. 3 months later, I lost all the money. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was one of those Bernie Madoff schemes where, you invest money and you'll get more money later.
Right.
And, it was I lost all that money. And at that time, I was seeing clients. In those days, we called them patients in my psychotherapeutic practice. And I decided to just be in my office, earn money, so I could make some of that money back. And I really avoided talking to my friends and my colleagues about it. And, my family already knew, but I was so embarrassed. I was just incredibly embarrassed. So I was avoiding talking any further about it. And about 4 months into this, I get a call from a woman. To this day, I remember Melva Arditi from the Sacramento Bee, which is the newspaper here. And the phone rings and I pick it up and she said, "Hello, is this Dr. Maria Nemeth?" And of course, at that moment, Jennifer, I get this very professional sound in my voice. I don't know if any of you or the listeners have this professional persona that we project. And I said, "Yes, this is Dr. Nemeth. May I help you?" She said, "Please, Dr. Nemeth." She said, "UC Davis, where you were teaching psychiatrists and the community, they all said that you could answer a question from your experience." And I said, "Yes, please, I'd be happy to." And she said, "Well, I don't know if you know this, but over the past 4 months, there have been so many people taken in our Sacramento community by this Ponzi scheme. Please tell me, what kind of person gets taken by those deals? Is there a psychiatric diagnosis for these people? Please." Now, she was talking about me, obviously. And
was
Jennifer,
that a humbling moment for you?
Well, see, it was more than humbling because I'm an extrovert. And one of the things that we know about extroverts is that often we say things as we're thinking them. And I remember these words falling into the receiver of the telephone, because there were telephones in those days. Because I said to her, "I got taken by that deal too." And I started telling her about what happened. She did say, "Dr. Nemeth, tell me something. Are you sure you want to let me know all this? Because I'm going to be printing it, in a few days." And at that moment, that was the turn right then. I said,
that was your big aha.
That was the big, because I said, "You may as well print it. Because if a few people can learn from my mistakes, that will take some of the sting out of it for me." And so she printed it the next 2 or 3 days down the line. And Dr. Maria Nemeth, noted psychologist, got taken and, on this deal and lost money. And it was interesting because my friends and colleagues and my relatives, they started calling me. And Jennifer, they didn't say, "Why did you do it?" They started talking to me about their problems with money. I think I was probably safe to talk to at that point.
Yeah.
Because I'd already lost my,
Well, now they're like, okay, I
have
a connection. Yeah.
And I soon came to recognize that there are a lot of people who have problems with money. And so I started a course that I knew I needed to take. It was called The Energy of Money. And fast forward, I led groups. I saw individual clients. And, the population grew and grew. I finally created an actual seminar called You and Money, A Possibility Becomes Reality. And people signed up for this seminar. And then a couple years later, I had gathered so much data from the people talking about money that I said, it's time for me to write this book.
Right.
The Energy of Money.
Were you seeing like a similar pattern?
All kinds of things. I mean, really, people spending money without thinking about it, people thinking about it and thinking about it so much that they never spend it, arguments. I mean, it was just a whole body full of data. And the reason I say data is because, coming from UCLA, my PhD in psychology, I got it because of research that I'd done. So I saw this as a research pool of people, but I didn't want to do research. I wanted to write a book that would contribute to others who might read it. And it would include many of the things that I had begun to create in order to coach people past their difficulties. And so You and Money, A Spiritual Guide to Financial and Personal Fulfillment. I wrote it, and Oprah's people got wind of it, read it, and invited me to come on the Oprah show. I think what I want to leave the listeners with is when you dare to take a chance on a dream, on something that's calling to you, that something is something that has your name on it.
Yeah.
You must take steps toward whatever that is.
The universe kind of opens up like pretty clearly of a path. You just have to, you're right, pay attention, have a little courage to jump into that. So here you wrote this book, you get on over. What sparked to found the Academy of Coaching Excellence? Because now you're taking all that and you're now producing other coaches.
Yes. Well, see, what happened was that I became interested in coaching. As a psychologist, I had seen so many people in my private practice who said, Dr. Maria, you've helped me with my crisis or with my difficulties. I've solved them and I feel good about myself. Now, how am I going to live the rest of my life? Can you help me with that? And I realized, you see, that I didn't have the tools. So I went and I took courses from people way back then who were just starting to talk about coaching.
Right.
Because, let's say 35 or even 30 years ago, we had voice coaches, we had drama coaches, sports coaches, but we didn't have something called a life coach.
Right.
And so I took some classes from people I considered to be brilliant who were starting to talk about something called coaching people for success. And I saw that, to tell the truth, my aptitude is much more the kind that can go easily into coaching. I was actually made for coaching because I love to see people grow. I love to see them contribute. It's my deep desire that the people I work with, that they end up living the life that they were meant to live, and they are with it. And so I coached people. I saw some of these leaders using a certain methodology that I incorporated with their permission into my work. And after a while, I developed a number of tools and approaches to help coaches train.
Have like those frameworks and
yeah, absolutely. Because, at the beginning and still a little bit now, Jennifer, some people, not everybody, I promise you, but some people hung out their shingles and would say, well, I have life experience, so that qualifies me as a coach.
Right.
Or,
we see that a lot.
Yeah, really, huh?
Yeah.
Or I've taken 1 or 2 courses and I said to myself, wait a second. Coaching in its own way is just as powerful as psychotherapy. Because you're holding the person's dreams in your hands, and how you coach them determines the life they're going to lead. And so I decided, some colleagues of mine came to me at one point and said, why don't you start an academy?
Yeah.
And so I started it with a couple of friends who really helped, and I included all this methodology that I'd created out of coaching people, and we created the Academy for Coaching Excellence. I mean, we've been here for about 26 years.
Wow.
It was pretty quick.
And it was interesting. You made a comment of the classification of academy. Actually, it's not just like a name or a title. There is a you can't just have academy attached to your name without some certification to it, which that's good information for all of us to know. Of make sure that it's not just somebody that was like, I like the name Academy.
No. I wanted us to be really a professional coach training establishment.
Yeah.
And so we became accredited through the International Coach Federation.
Gotcha.
And made sure that our material kept to the codes established by ICF. because as a professional myself, I had been part of APA,
Right.
the American Psychological Association, and WPA, the Western Psychological Association, and I knew the importance of a professional milieu, being able to really see yourself as a professional, not just as a hobby.
Right.
And so people,
there's a proven framework. It's been more research based, not just, like you said, somebody's life experience.
yes.
Right.
There was a woman who was thinking of coming to the academy, and she said, but I've taken a couple courses and they've given me a certification. I said, well, did it give you ICF certification as well? No, but they said I didn't need it. The few weekends was enough. And I said to this one woman, now, let's say you want a therapist and you ask them, are you a trained therapist? Did you go through the rigors? And they said, are you licensed?
Right.
And they said, well, I'm not licensed, but I have life experience and I've taken a few courses. Would you want to go to that therapist?
No. Well, it's like going to an accountant that someone says, well, I do my books at home.
That's it.
Right.
So it's just because when you study, look, I want to tell you the truth about something, and for your listeners. When I started the academy, there were 40 schools worldwide that taught coaching.
Oh, I bet that number is exploded today.
It has, especially after COVID, there are thousands. There are thousands. Now, I do not say that our academy is the best in the whole world. But what I do say is there are about 8 or 10 academies that do excellent training. And ours is one of them, so ours is one of them. And I'm thrilled to be with the others.
With the peers.
Because
the top. Yeah.
Because these are people who have worked hard to create a credible program.
So what in the 26 years, 30 years you've been in this arena, what have you seen? What's been the biggest shift within that category other than just the explosion of it? What's been a big surprise to you?
The biggest surprise to me personally?
Yeah.
I want to get down to because I could be theoretical with you. I've read the research and I've authored research stuff on it, but just to get down and very personal, what I realized was the difficulties as well as the wins of being an entrepreneur. I've discovered there's a big difference between, let's say, being an entrepreneur and working for a company.
Yeah.
It's like this. When you're an entrepreneur, whether you're the head of a coach training academy, incidentally, I'm no longer the head. We have a new CEO. His name is Tom Lenoble, and he is a genius as the CEO of the academy. When you're an entrepreneur, if you want to eat a fish tonight, you have to catch it yourself.
Right.
Today, there's that immediacy.
That's right. The pipeline. You got to fill it.
Because, if you're working for a corporation or another company, if you don't catch the fish today, it's not as an emergency. If you and your team can catch it by the end of a quarter, and especially when you're working in a corporate setting, if you're the head of something, or at least a manager, you have a team you can rely on. And your job is to empower that team so that they produce the results.
That's right.
And incidentally, that's part of what I'm teaching leaders all the time, the important principles of how to be a leader that gets the best from the people that they're leading.
Yeah.
But to even put that aside, when you're an entrepreneur, especially at the beginning, you don't have a team necessarily that you can talk with about, meeting a certain quota or meeting,
Right. It is all on you.
It's on you.
It's all on you.
I can
You're wearing
see.
every hat. All the hats.
You are. And even when you grow a little bit, you're still the head.
Right.
And it's still up to you. And of course, I've worked with people who are entrepreneurs. I'm thinking of one person who has this great business, a very creative business in which has doubled his employees, and they do creative artwork for movies and television presentations.
Oh, fun.
And he's very successful, but he's always got his eye on the ball. I'm coaching him to relax a little bit.
Let his team be empowered and
yeah, but even so,
yeah.
Even so, it's your baby, isn't
Right.
it?
Well, founders, we find that delegation is very hard. Letting go.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when you get, if you've been burned or, the trust factor, we always say
Mm-hmm.
like the new level, new devil. So even like you said, you started out, you're all on your own, you grow a little bit, you expand your team, you kind of learning some things. But then when you scale to another level, that's where like systems, processes, more people, like
You are so right.
yeah. And we hear that a lot, kind of the different angst and different mindsets. So it might not be that you're wearing, you might be wearing different hats, but also you need to shift your mind to go, I need to not be in startup mode. I need to be in scale up mode. And I need to make sure that the other people around me are also in how do we scale? How do we get out of our silos? How do we, become better teammates?
And along with it is that pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So part of the way I coach entrepreneurs out of my own experiences, but with the methodology that I've developed now, I coach entrepreneurial leaders on how to relax.
Because it is that discipline of just, we call it like you need to take a time to rest and reset. You need that creative, just self reflection, kind of build back your creative energy. Is that kind of what you're
It's
talking
part
about?
of that. It's
Okay.
part of that. But you see, when we're entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
we may not know that our job, being the head of a business, is to empower the people working within our business, to empower them.
Yeah. And we
to
we
be
use that word a
successful.
lot. How do you help? Are there tools or techniques that you can little tips that you could leave with our founders to go, or signals? Because when we step into businesses, we see that there are leaders like, I empower my people, but then when we start talking with their and getting into the like, you're not empowering anybody.
All right, now. Well, the definition of empowerment is to cause to be powerful. And I've developed a number of tools that people can use, because I say that we need a way to retrain our brains to see the new reality of our business.
Right.
Now, so one of the things I've developed is I wish we had 10 hours.
I know. I was like, I'm just like going, oh my gosh, we can be here for days.
Yes, we could. It's a specific instrument. I call it the green lens, which when you train your brain, because a lot of this is brain training, Jennifer.
Yeah. Oh, it's mindset completely. Yeah.
It's yes. And within mindset, it's actual brain training. And you teach your brain to focus somewhere and not on something else. So the green lens is a specific way in which you can train your brain to see that the person you're talking with, your employee, they are capable and able to do the work that's in front of them. They must be treated with dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
You must see how to develop trust with that person before anything. And part of this lens, this green lens, shows you how to build that trust so that in your presence as a leader, the other person will relax and see that you're there to help them be successful, because that's the job of the leader, is to literally train other people under them to be successful.
That's right. Right.
And when you see anyone through this lens, you develop trust, and you develop with that person. They're happy to be with you.
Right.
They're glad to see you. When you call them for a talk, they don't get all nervous. They don't go, oh,
Yeah.
why is Jennifer calling me in? What's wrong now?
Right. Right.
And it's a specific skill set that as entrepreneurs, we often don't know how to do. So that's one of the first things that I
don't
teach.
think it's just entrepreneurs. I've worked in a lot of businesses. That's just, they don't teach that in management.
No, they don't. They don't.
Because, they always say, what is it, the stats in employee engagement surveys of, 80% or something like 85% of people that leave a company, they don't leave they go work for a company. They leave a manager. They leave a direct supervisor.
Yes.
And so, I know founders, we struggle with that because we're wearing a bunch of hats. We're usually really good at like whatever we started the business in, but now we're learning different things of, accounting, that maybe that's not our background, or IT, that's not our background, or, operation systems, maybe that's not our background. So, or like I'm an introvert. I had to become a learned extrovert because I know that's important to be seen as kind of the founder, the leader of the company, to, really work on connections in a different way that I was not like, to me, I was more comfortable with building connections because I'm delivering some value. Like I'm, it's a analytics, or it's a strategic report, or a brand. I've had to learn over time of like, no, there needs to be another layer of a connection there. And that gets you out of your comfort zone.
It does.
Of that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, like, but management in general, if people, that's just not, in most companies, that's a weak spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As you said so brilliantly, it is not taught in Leadership 101 or even advanced leadership. How do you create a partnership with the person you're working with?
Yeah. What are the steps other than look at people through a green lens? Is there a routine or a discipline that someone needs to go through? Yeah.
It's more an awakening to what the possibilities really are. Now, one of the things I've developed over the years is a definition of success that is different from many definitions, because success normally, and I'm, quotation normally, is, you're driven for success. You got to keep going. You have to, and you have to work diligently and hard. People who are top achievers, they live a life in which they're always on the ball, and they're just, it's very difficult because after a while you run out of steam. It's called burnout.
Yep.
So for high achievers, as well as for many others of us, my definition of success is this. Success is doing what you said you would do consistently, with clarity, focus, ease, and grace, where clarity is being clear about what's truly important to you, whether it's personally important or truly important, like a vision in the business.
Right. It's the why. Like, this is why we're doing this.
Yeah. Yes. Focus. And yes, focus is about focusing your brain on what's important, which is difficult to do because now, over the past years, our brain has become busier and busier and busier. When I started off working, we had something called a telephone that you used to dial people. If you needed to get through to someone quickly, you would send them something called a telegram, which would take about 3 hours to get to them. Life was a lot slower.
Yeah.
Now
it's the expectation of minutes response.
Seconds. Respond within the next 30 seconds, please.
Yep.
So focus is all about you training your brain. I tell people, imagine the possibility that you are not your brain. You have a brain. You have 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and a brain. You are that which has the capacity to shape your brain. And a lot of research backs that up.
Right.
So clarity is about being clear about what's important to you. Focus is about focusing your brain on what's important without distraction. Ease is about taking the next small, sweet step, not promising to do a whole lot of things so quickly and so many things that you end up not doing them all and you feel terrible anyway. So learning how to take small, sweet steps, because when you take a small step and then take the next one and the next one and the next one, your brain doesn't get all riled up as when you promise to take a huge action. And so I teach people, there's something called Kaizen, Kai. No, you know Kaizen.
Yeah.
Small, sweet increments, which is how major Japanese companies after the Second World War really became successful.
Right.
Everyone in that company learned to take one small step a day to make that company successful.
Right. Now it's
the
like
same with us.
Six Sigma is now all this was, come out of the Kaizen frameworks. Yeah.
So it's small, sweet steps. And then grace. Grace starts with the experience of gratitude for what you currently have. Many people say grace occurs when you see miracles around you. And Willa Cather, who was a great author in the U.S. in the 1900s, she has a quote from a book, which is one of my favorite books. I read it almost every 2 years, Jennifer. And the quote is something like, miracles rest not so much upon healing power coming suddenly near us from afar, but upon our perceptions being made finer, so that for the moment our eyes can see and our ears can hear what has been there around us always. And in order to see those things, we develop a practice of gratitude. And if anyone is interested, on YouTube, there is Father David Steindl-Rast, Stendl-Rast. His whole life was devoted to gratitude, being grateful. And on YouTube, there is something called a grateful day. There's one called a good day and then a grateful day. But if you listen to a grateful day, it's a little over 5 minutes. And I say especially to high achieving people, play this 5 minutes every morning for 10 days and notice how your brain becomes trained to see that which is around you always. Because if we don't, what we focus upon is what's missing. And since the brain creates its own experience of reality, if you're focusing on what's missing, your brain will give you evidence for what is missing. But if you learn to focus on that for which you are grateful, that's what your brain learns to search out and show you.
That's right. It's interesting. The whole part of training your brain, we all kind of come up with our routines or disciplines to help us stay focused or, practice gratitude. Some people journal, other people do like, I'm just going to practice, self list 10 things that I'm grateful for in the morning. And it really starts, we talk to other founders. It's like, yeah, it starts rewiring your brain. I've done it. I do 3 questions at the end of the day. And it's, where did I find joy in the day? What am I carrying angst for? Like anxiety, stress, like was I mad at myself for doing something or scared about something in the future? Like where am I carrying, what's the biggest angst? And then third is like, what am I most looking forward to tomorrow? And just that discipline, I've been doing it for a few years, but I noticed the things that I wrote a few years ago is so different. And now it's like I'm writing multiple things of joy. I'm finding multiple things that I'm looking forward to versus I remember sitting and it was really hard on certain days. But it rewires. The other thing I heard from just another rewiring, like what you were saying of, things come at you. Yes, people have said like this too shall pass, just kind of have that mantra. Another one that another founder told me was just if something comes at you and you weren't expecting it, maybe like bad news or whatever, just say, yes, thank you. Like you I missed my flight. Okay, yes, thank you. I now have more time to do something else. Or we didn't get that piece of business. Okay, yes, thank you. Because that opens up for something else. There's another path that we were meant to do. So it's interesting how it just kind of rewires.
It does. And Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the second Secretary General of the United Nations, he was born in Sweden and he was a very, very spiritual man. He wrote something that has become one of the focal points of my work. He said, for everything that has been in my life, but for everything that has been, I say thank you. And to all that is yet to be, I say yes. And I boiled that down to 3 words. And so if any of you who are listening want to write something that you can focus your brain on, I am willing. You can be willing to do something you don't want to do. You can be willing to do something you don't think you can do. Because to be willing is to transcend the domain of worries, doubts, and fears. And if you really want to power that up, there's a 4th word. That word is nevertheless. Nevertheless means with everything that has been, not taking anything away. Nevertheless, comma, I'm willing. And I say to leaders, if you just get a little 3x5 card and write down, nevertheless, I'm willing, and place it where you can see it every day. That's another thing you're training your brain for. Nevertheless, with everything that's happening and has happened, including it all,
right?
Not taking anything away. Nevertheless, I'm willing.
I'm willing. So, Dr. Maria, we ask all our founders that come on, what's a word that sums up your journey? What word do you choose?
Grateful.
It's a good one. If you look ahead to the next chapter, what word do you want to define your next chapter?
Contribution.
Legacy.
It's not only legacy, but contributing to each and every person with whom I have the opportunity, I should just say, to talk with.
Yeah.
Whether it's a friend, whether it's a client, it's what am I contributing right now? Now, I say that everyone wants to know that their life has contributed, that their life has made a difference.
Right. To somebody. Right.
Somebody.
Something.
To their group, to their family, to their customers, to everyone wants to know that they have demonstrated being a contribution. And so that's one of the things that I work with leaders on.
Yes.
What are you willing to see that you have contributed?
That's good. I like that. I know that you've had, this absolutely impactful life. You've written books, you've contributed to a lot of people. Would you do anything different? Would you hit rewind on anything other than maybe not write that guy a check, but that led to so many other things?
No.
Is there anything you would go,
no.
I would do something different?
No. Nothing.
And who's been
now? It doesn't mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there are things that I would not have regretted. Because my next book is on living without regret. And I discovered how to work with regret, even if it happened way in the past, I discovered how to rectify the situation.
Yeah.
So that what was a regret in the past is no longer. It can show up at least as a lesson for now, but it's possible to live your life without regretting anything. So when you ask if there's anything I would have changed, not a thing. Am I happy with everything? No. I had breast cancer, and here I am. I'm still here.
That's right. Because it shapes us. I think every decision, whether it's not the greatest decision, it led to another learning, another lesson that we wouldn't have gotten, or it would have taken us much longer to get to that lesson.
Well, it's true for people like you. This is one of the reasons I'm so thrilled you've asked me to come on this show. It's clear for you that it's important to live the life that you were meant to live.
Absolutely.
And if there's something that still holds energy, to do something to handle it, and not to say, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Yep.
No.
No, just
like Here Lies Maria, she should have skied more.
I don't think that's what they're going to say.
I hope not. This is what I want. Well, this is what I want on my tombstone. Here lies Maria. She loved us. We loved her. And life was just a little better place because she was in it. And let me tell you something. The secret of that, everyone wants to know that.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I was like, I would like to have that on my tombstone.
Of course. Everyone wants that.
That's right.
When people say, no, I don't want that.
Right. Yes, they do.
We just look at that a little more. Because of course they do.
That's right. Who has been your biggest cheerleader?
My biggest cheerleader?
Yeah.
My wife of 50 years.
Wow.
Rita Sayans. We've been together for actually a little over 50 years, 51 years. And Rita Sayans is a genius in her own right. She's been the head of huge departments here in California. Here we are the 4th largest economy in the world.
Yep.
And she's headed up multi-billion-dollar departments like the Department of CDSS, Department of Social Services.
Wow. So she's contributing a lot.
She has contributed, and she still does. She sits on boards and commissions, and if it weren't for her empowering me, I never would have come this far.
Right. It's always there's always cheerleader, and sometimes we have multiple cheerleaders, but I always like to know who's
That's my secret.
I love
it.
And
I only hope that she says the same thing about me, because the secret I've discovered in keeping relationships working is that you want the other person to have exactly what they want out of life.
Absolutely. That's right. Unselfishly. Yeah. Dr. Maria, this has been fantastic. But I have one more question. Like, our founders, entrepreneurs, our listeners, you have lived this wonderful, great life of a business of 26 years that you have founded and have been running this and continue. What's the best piece of advice that you like to give our listeners? Either that you were given when you first started out or things that you have learned.
If there is a dream that has your name on it, go for it. Do not delay. Once you see what it is,
just do it. No fear. Just do it.
No, you'll have fear. You'll have fear.
You will be scared to death, but don't let that stop you.
But I've discovered that fear is normal and natural. There are literally biological reasons in our brain for why the brain gets so afraid whenever we step into something new. So just know that you'll hear all that stuff in your head. However, that stuff will never go away.
Right.
Unless and until you begin to take the first small, sweet step toward that dream.
I love it. Thank you. And now, really, before we go, how can people reach out to you, get to know, buy your books, learn more about what you're doing, and more about the Academy?
Well, they can read my books, The Energy of Money and Mastering Life's Energies. And I think I told you before the show that a few months ago, we discovered that Mastering Life's Energies has been printed in Chinese. So
Which is a milestone and accomplishment.
it is a milestone. It is. It is. The Academy is, people are really interested in really delving into my work. It's called acecoachtraining.com, Academy for Coaching Excellence.com. It's acecoachtraining.com. People take our first course, Mastering Your Life, whether or not they want to be a coach. This is about waking up to who you are and your capacity. And if you want to be a coach with us, you've got to go through that course anyway.
Right.
So, but that is perfect. If people want to work with me directly, I have LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. If you go onto my website, marianemeth.com, you can see my TEDx talk. And if you are interested in working with me, it's very easy. Just email me, marianemeth.com. And if you're interested in having me coach you, we'll have a short discovery session to see whether or not I would be the best coach for you. Because if not, there are other coaches that I can refer you to that are excellent. But if you want to work with me, or you have a team that wants to work with me, maria@marianemeth.com. For other offerings that I have, you can always message. Her name is Heidi, and it's Heidi at HLHgrowthsolutions.com.
Perfect.
And
and we will
it.
include that all in the show notes too. I appreciate it. This was great. Thank you so much, Dr. Maria.
Thank you for the privilege of talking with you. This has been eye-opening for me too.
Such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
But that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the work doesn't stop here. If this episode felt familiar and comfortable, you're not alone. Subscribe and share and leave us a great review on Spotify, or go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really does help founders find their way through all the clutter and noise that's out there. And if you're craving clarity, not more chaos, our sponsor, Bright Marketing, offers a founder brand clarity sprint designed to help you get unstuck, unfocused, and moving forward with confidence. You can explore that and more founder tools and more episodes at Orange Whip. That WIP is for work in progress, because that's what we all are. Or shoot an email to hello@orangewhip.com. Until next time, stay curious and stay a little scrappy, and we will see you again next week.